Dear Dhamma friends, today is the sixth day. Accordingly, we are going to have the sixth talk in the series. May everyone get settled down and keep the consent with sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Punacca parang auso bhikkhu santutto hoti italitara jivara pindapata senasana gidana pacchebe sajja parikkareti. Dear Dhamma friends, along this Natakarana Dhamma, or points that helps one's protection, there are 10 points enumerated in this particular sutta, namely the Sangiti Sutta, and this one that is that we are going to take today is going to give a very vast opening to one's understanding towards what is the Buddhist economics, what is the Buddhist way of pleasure principle, what is the Buddhist way of not promoting this accumulation of wealth, and how a king or a leader can have kind of a justice and assure the peace of mind in its subjects. Likewise, it's a very vast area, and in this particular sutta itself, it has been mentioned twice. Under this Natakarana Dhamma, or under this 10 points of protection, it is being mentioned in a brief form. Punacca parang auso bhikkhu santutto hoti italitara jivara pindapata senasana besajja parikkareti. That is the one sentence. It is come under the number of tens. But when you go to the early part of the particular sutta, under the book of force or under the subject of point 4, you have the detailed explanation of the same sutta. And the Buddha himself delivered this sutta, and that is come under the book of Anguttara Nikaya, book of numerical order, in the book of 4, and all of them were very famous in Buddhist countries, specifically in their golden age. At that time, the king was very happy with kind of a teaching and used to propagate it and let the learned monks preach this particular sutta to the other people, and accordingly they are given a tax exemption for provinces or in villages. So they have been exempted from the taxes, but they must once in a way convene a talk like this, once in 4 months, or once in 3 months, or sometimes once a year, and invite all the people right round, and invite a particular monk who is very skillful in this, elaborating this particular sutta, and they used to listen overnight. And this Pali literature written in the Sinhalese era, or when Pali literature confined to Sri Lanka, there are a lot of incidents, historical cases. Very interesting thing happened in this kind of Dhamma talks, and how much the people were moved in faith, and how much the monks were skillful in delivering this to keep all the crowd awakened overnight. In one particular historical event in Sri Lanka, in the golden age of Anuradhapura area, one particular monk gave this sutta discourse or Dhamma talk overnight, and king was very happy, but he was late to the beginning of the talk. So when he comes, the people was sitting and listening, and they are fully imbibed in the talk. So the king was at the end of the congregation, and he used to listen standing overnight. And he came to know how much this particular monk is learned, not only in this mindful meditation, not only in this monastic life, but regarding the politics, economics, happiness of the people, loving kindness and everything. So early morning, he went to the monk and told, I am ashamed to claim as a king, you are the person should go to the throne. You better take whole Sri Lanka and do as you like. Because the knowledge that you have is comprehensive for everything. Then the monk told that you are so generous, thank you very much. I am very busy. You take the kingdom and do it in a justifiable way. Of course, that king was justified over the faithful kind of a monk, the king, and therefore whole Sri Lanka offered to that particular monk with his own jurisdictional powers. So like that, there have been a number of cases whenever the monk is about to deliver talk on this Aryavansa Sutta, that is the particular sutta named after in the Anguttara Nikaya, it was addressing to each and everyone, whether he is a religious person or not, whether he is a recluse living in the forest or in a village household life, wherever, whatever the person he has. Yeah, that is why it has become a very popular one and respected one among the King Asoka's debates. He used to appreciate few number of suttas or discourses. This is going to give a kind of a peace of mind and through little understanding of these facts, basically related to the materiality. If the people knows how much they will be nature loving, how much they will be concerned about the others' happiness, how much they will be contented with whatever they are going to have, and therefore the king's work or administrative work will be very easier. There is no one-upmanship, there is no one chasing behind. So this particular sutta was so became popular in all the aspects. But unlucky enough, for the last 1,000 years or so in Sri Lanka, no one took interest about that. Maybe we underwent some colonial governments, and there were some severe droughts and climatological hazards, and therefore the Buddhism as well as the mentality of the people as well as the particular teachings were not so popular. But for the last 30-40 years again it come into lively talks, and therefore when I was a layperson, I came to know one particular monk who is very famous, island famous, and of course at the beginning I thought better to become a disciple of him. So I went and paid respect and told Vanaya, I wish to listen to your talk and come to our meditation center and give. And when I am listening, it was so appealing. I was almost with tears. How much it is cope up with our village life and our values and kind of thing. And therefore, I had a special attention, special respect for this particular sutta. It is towards the end of the sutta, it is directly addressing to the mindfulness or the meditative life, but at the beginning, it is teaching about the contentment. The contentment is the pleasure principle, what the Buddha mentioned. Therefore, Buddha never condemned the pleasure-seeking kind of a way, because the Buddha says then and there is a satisfaction, and but the way that you are searching must be justifiable from the nature, from the neighbors, and for your health, physical and mental. And for that he came up with this formula, that Sangiti Sutta, under the number 10, it says, Santutto hoti itara chivara pindapata senasara gilana passe besatya parikkare. You must know the art of how to be contented with whatever the robes you are going to get, whatever the food you are going to get, whatever the dwelling you are going to get, whatever the medicine you are going to get. And if you know the art of how to be contented with whatever you got, it is more than enough. But instead, if you are going to copy what the neighbors are going to do, what is your dream world is going to do, then you are ever uncontented, and therefore your mind becomes sick, body becomes sick, and exploitation into the nature and accumulation of the wealth in an unjustifiable way, it's become an epidemic disease. And therefore, if someone is interested in, I would like to give reference to the same particular sutta in the early part, under the number 4. It explains little bit in detail how one should behave towards one's own robes, or in laity language, or in the day-to-day language. We can say what must be one's attitude towards one's clothes or one's attire. Idauso bhikkhu santutto hoti itarichari chivarena. Under this topic, dear Dhamma friends, a recluse must be contented with whatever the robe he is going to get. That is the main term. It is appearing in this under number 10 as well as in the 4. And explain, itarichari chiva santuttiyacha vannavadi. Not only that he must be happy with whatever the clothings, attire or robes as far as the monks are concerned or nuns are concerned, he must always phrase this character of contentment regarding the clothes. Not only he is happy, but he is always talking and phrasing the satisfaction of the contentment. Nacha chivara hetu anesanam apati rupam apati. If you are not happy with what is the robe or what is the clothes you have, you must never go in search of new clothes in a wrong way or in unjustifiable way. Of course, there may be a lot of ways which are not becoming, but if you are chasing behind the new models, new fashions, you are not be contented with what is available, you have not enough money, and then what is happening is burning, throughout burning, morning to evening. Burning happens, therefore, even if there's a vacuum, even there's not enough, you must never search them through in the wrong ways and unjustifiable ways. Even if you don't get exactly the measurement, exactly the color, exactly the stitching, you are not worrying about that, because that is not the main purpose of your clothes. Cloth is to cover up the shameful areas and to give protection from the warm and cold winds and the sun and the other harsh conditions. So therefore, even if it is not up to your social status or your dreams, don't worry about that. The Bladdacha Chivara Agatito Amuchito Ananchapanno Adinava Dasavi Nissarana Paripanditi. Even if you're going to get exactly the desirable color, exactly the desirable material and stitching, you never be proud of that I am the person who got exactly what my neighbors or others are not going to get, and you are not claim this as my proud, and you don't hold into this particular robe, as well as you must understand if the good thing happen, when it is going to disappear, when it is going to get waste off and wear and tear, it is going to give a big unsatisfactoriness. Therefore, the good thing gives the good troubles. Bad thing gives the poor thing gives the poor kind of trouble. So therefore, you must understand the attachment to the clothes going to give so much of troubles in your mind. So therefore, even if you are going to get exactly the thing what you need, you never boast, you never brag, you never hold into that your pride. Whenever you are using, just for the utility value. You must understand what is the use of clothing. Dhammajiva jiva santutya neva tukkan sedi no paramambeti. Now you know the art. For example, if you can understand the word meaning of that, you know that the robes or clothing can give so much of mental problems, so much of tension. So therefore, after listening, after practicing, you may understand more and more you put into that practice. You get kind of a peace of mind. But you can see that your neighbor, the other person is not concerned. They do not know. They are not practicing. So therefore, there may be a pride, conceit, telling, I know I am practicing, I am more virtuous, I am more economical, but the other person is very consumerizing, very luxurious, like you develop one-upmanship. That is the most difficult thing. So even though you are simple living and high thinking, you never make a point to look down others. Nacha jivara hetu, jivara santutyata, neva attukkan setino paramamiti. You never put yourself up telling that I am more religious, I am more frugal, I am more economical, but other people are very luxurious, they don't care. Likewise, you develop kind of a conceit, that is the one going to burn you. So therefore, not only that materialistically you adopt into the economical way, the frugal way, but don't show it to other people. And that is, from the beginning, you must tighten your belts, not only the practice, but due to the success and the proper practice, don't make a point to look down others. So, itattadakko, that is the skillfulness Buddha is asking from you. You must be skillful in it. That means you must learn it, you must grasp the idea, and after grasping, not only that keeping written in the palm leaves or writing in golden leaves and keep it in a casket, but you learn it, you practice it. By practicing, definitely, if you are not mentally sick, you find the contentment. If you are of course mentally sick, you may find this is something unwanted, and why not go for the fashions? So otherwise you will understand it, but soon you understand, definitely you may see, my children are not up to that. My neighbors are not up to that. They are boasting, they are asking, and then you like to look down them and try to say that you don't know, you must not be like that, you must listen to me, I practice, it is correct, and why not you practice like? You try to impose upon others, and that is the point you are making divorces in the families, problems in the family. You can be frugal, you can be economical, but it is not a must. You are not must profess it to others and expect the others to do the same. So much so, you become arrogant. And that is called, due to your self-mortification, it comes out to the point of self-mortification, and you expect this as a norm to the society, or this as norm to your family. That is your sickness. And there you must be very skilled. So itattadakko analaso. Don't lose this idea from morning to evening. Throughout, moment by moment, you must, while you are not only the clothings, all the other things also, food, dwellings, and the medicines that you are using, each and every time, or otherwise we can say, we are consumers of these four from morning to evening. Each time when we are using, each one we are consuming, we have interaction with that particular materiality, the clothing, food, dwelling, and the medicine. Together with that, ethical relationships. You are with the other social members. So therefore, throughout the day, you must tighten your belts, not to go for consumerization, and don't look others from that standard. That is the point, you are going to make problems. So therefore, throughout the day, you must be then and there concerned about that. Sampajano means that a clear comprehension. Earlier, you also was a person with luxuries, behind materiality, but due to the listening, but due to the proper reflection, you tried to be economical, to use things for utility value, and you find it is going to give so much of peace of mind, and so much of time saved, and too much of unwanted talkings. In the media, they are always talking about these fashions, always talking about these different cuisines or different foods, and different architectural designs, and different medicine. So if you are trying to be contented with whatever coming along your way, and then you can understand how much wastage of words, advertising and propagating someone's products. And this is what it happened in the media, and you become attracted to, magnetized to media if you are that kind of a person. And you will be very popular person if you are up to the mark of this consumerization. When and where you come back to the utility value, you can understand who are the real true friends or spiritual friends, and then you can be contented with. You can have an agreement just to use it for the utility value, but don't take much time about these kind of things. And therefore, sampajano, your clear comprehension, and patissato, you can be mindful about whatever you do. As far as you are doing it mindfully, or for example, as monks, whenever we are to wear the robes, there is a formula. Each time you put the robe into yourself, you have to recite. Parisankāyo sochivaram parisevāmi āvadeva sītāsa parigātāya unas parigātāya dansamakasa vātādava siddhintava varilasa sampathanam parigātāya yāvadeva hirikopena parichādanatta. I am using this robe in order to get rid of this cold and warm air, rain problems and crawling animals, and in order intrinsically cover up the shameful areas. So if that is fulfilling, that's it. So therefore, when and where you encounter it, when and where you met up with this kind of a material usages, each time if you are mindful enough to see the utility value, that when and where you going to wear, going to eat, going to enter into a dwelling places, when and where you use medicine, that will be a reason you have to be at home, you have to be utility value. So therefore it becomes a tax in your mindfulness. When and where you eat, you decide will be there. London is a Emmaus Center.
Seems like it could be a little clearer, the audio, I don't know. Maybe like the microphone is kind of down to the left from here.
So when we were in the UK, that organizer prepared a formula, sitting on the dining table, keeping your meal in front, you have to recite it. And it is given in similar, or you can put it in English, or that is in Pali. So it is a kind of a reflection before eating. So it is a word, a group kind of a tag, a reminder to be mindful. So likewise, when and where you are wearing, when and where you are eating, when and where you are using these accommodation or dwellings, or medicine, and that is a kind of a reminder, because we can't live without them. But moment you thread past the utility value and go to the luxury, then onward you are knowingly or unknowingly get content. And there's a very clear indication from the later teachers, the Putuchana, that means the commoner, means he do not know up to which point it is utility, and beyond that luxury, the person who do not know that is known as Putuchana. Because each and everyone need basic needs. No one can do away with clothing. No one can do away with food, dwelling and the medicine. So therefore your start to get the basic needs is very innocent, very practical. So even the kings must make sure each and every subject going to get the basic needs. So therefore your initiative, creativity or productivity or improvements to get the basic needs, no one will do. You can't just sleep and expect it. So therefore you must work. But when and where you are going from the utility level to the luxury level, if you are not sensitive, that is what say overeating, going to be obesity. Today's problem is not due to lack of foods. Today's problem is due to overeating. And therefore there's a one book in Sri Lanka, committing suicide with your tongue. You don't know the limit. And you expect the religious masters to be there and tell this is enough, darling, now stop right. Yeah. That never happens. That you can do it, no one can do it. So the moment, or we can say, up to the point, utility, it is prime important for your mental and physical health. Moment to thread pass it, then you are ruining your health physically and mentally. No one is connected. You are the one. And it is happening in the consuming, in the process of consuming. So if you are going to say when you are not consuming, sitting here, keeping the hand upon hand and close your eyes and in the meditation sitting, you can be mindful. Well and good. But it won't work. When you are eating, you are often more relaxed. You feel like, why not? Food available. Why not keep on? And where is the mindfulness? And that is the practical point, that very mindfulness that you have earned for the sake of mindfulness or theoretical mindfulness in sitting, it must be applicable whenever you are eating, whenever you are wearing, whenever you are dwelling, using a dwelling or household facilities and the medicine. That is the point, the mindfulness is really going to work. For an example, we can, there are a lot of examples are there. King Asoka, he was known as Chanda Asoka. He was a very rowdy and very warmonger, and he was killing people like anything in the one district, and then he was so fed up and he was so self-critical because it was a very unfair kind of a war. But in order to do away with that, he became very pious and started to give people sort of generously eating and clothing and all the kind of thing. And he earlier used Hindu religious teachers, and when they give food, these Hindu sadhus, they don't know the limits. They keep on eating, ultimately they can't get up. Someone has to go and raise the person. His clothing falls down. Ultimately, king found it is very difficult to develop the faith the way they are eating. So ultimately he asked his servants to take care about that. He has to be pious, but he can't see, they don't know the limits. One day he saw a very young Samanera going in the royal court, and very calm and quiet, downcast eye, and slowly is going. He sent a message to the Samanera, asking to come to the court, royal palace. And Samanera came, and seeing the king found he is a recluse and asked, when they take a suitable seat, he climbed up to the throne. He was so young, he can't climb up. Ultimately, the king put him onto the throne and told, would you mind to accept a meal? No, he told, I can't. Now it is evening, I am not going to have it. Even if I am to have it, I have to invite my teacher. If the teacher is going to accept, I will be. So where is your teacher? He is so and so in that place. Then he told, please, on behalf of me, take the invitation. Tell your teacher, come next day to the palace. So luckily the teacher and that particular Samanera came to the palace. That is this normal transaction is giving a meal. The way they consumed it, so king was so contented, found they are so mindful, not talking each other, just mindful, and then the king was so happy. And whenever the young Samanera was about to deliver a talk, king was almost ready to give up his early belief and come back to the Buddhism. Coming to the Buddhism, that is how the King Asoka became a Buddhist. So therefore, even he do not know what is this whole teaching about the Buddha. When someone is eating, if he is maintaining his own demeanor or mindful, it's a very good sign. Otherwise, the eating table is the worst place people are talking. In the banquet, and we throw party, dinner, and talking. But instead of mind your own business and eat it in a mindful way, it's a sermon, more than a sermon. So therefore, not only wearing clothes, not only eating, everywhere, if you make it a point to be mindful, then you may find, whether you are in a residential retreat among other co-practitioners or not, each and every time you can, if you can make it a point to be solitude, you are eating, you mind your business and only eating as eating, no much of talking and other kind of thing. And when you are wearing, make it a private place and do it in a slow way and make a tag. When and where you put the clothes, be mindful. And when we are entering into a house, be mindful whether it's your house or anyone's house, it's a dwelling, and be thankful. Enter in the mindfulness way, and with the medicine, day by day, each encounter, you find ways and means to tighten your belts. Each time you never reduce the utility value, you go up to the utility value. Whenever it is third passing and go to the luxury, your sensitivity going to increase, and therefore away from the meditation hall, away from the meditating sitting cushion, this is going to give so much of tags, so much of reminders, so much of doorways one to understand. But personally I tried, I found very difficult. Whenever you see food, you feel like eating, forget about the formula. Because food is such a thing, opening up. And whenever you are wearing, you feel like to be fashionable and to wear it in such a way so that other people, I can get the attraction of the other person. So you lost to yourself. And whenever you are planning a house, imagine how much of things you are unwanted, extravagant, you are put it. And whenever you are going for medicine, hardly you remember you are a sick person. You are not giving the medicine the disease. You are going to give the disease medicine to your social status. So therefore doctors, they know very well about that. They exploit it and prescribe this and that. And the biggest industry in America is the pharmaceutical industry. So therefore, each and every time you become slack, there is another person to exploit you. And these are the most prolific business in the world. So once they become interpreters of terms and conditions to the consumer, consumers are nowhere because they are multi-billion, multinational. So still, if you know the art of how to understand the utility value, you know multi-million companies can influence you. Still you can have your modest life, economic life and frugal life, and of course your close intimate friends and the relatives will look down you, telling that you are trying to be a beggar or you try to be a person with self-mortification. And we had one, still is living, one Greek monk, and all of a sudden he wanted to come to Sri Lanka, and he was so austere. He only lived on alms rounds. You have to go by the house to house, never take food given by the householders. And you wear only the rag robes, whatever the pieces of clothes thrown away, he bring it home, wash it, and cut it into pieces and make his own robes. As much as possible, he tried to live under a tree rather than under a roof. And he never go for medicine. And both the parents were very faithful Catholics, and they were completely against his way. And one day, and mother, no terms and conscience, she was so upset. She was cursing the whole order of Sangha, telling that they robbed my son. But the mother was little bit of terms and conditions one day, and he fallen sick also, maybe too much austere practices. And no one take care of her as far as the parents are concerned. And later he thought, instead of going to the very self-mortification type, coming to middle way, and then father was little bit ready to talk. And father told, I never forgive and forget the mistake you have done due to 3 reasons. One thing is, moment I am going to appreciate you, our church will not give you even a burial ground for me, because your son has gone to another faith. Second thing is, people will find fault with me, telling your son is a beggar. I can't tolerate. We have enough faith. Third one is, you have taken this faith, therefore after the death, I will definitely go to the netherworld. So that is why I can't communicate with you. And so he came and discussed with you also. This is the one the father has taken very strong stand. But we can't talk. Later he learned a method. He found his father is the lover of Socrates, Greek philosopher. And he told, the philosophy Socrates mentioned not to use money. Yes. I am also not using money. Why? Are you a follower of Socrates? No, I am a follower of Buddha. Buddha also did exactly what the Socrates mentioned, not to use money. And then father was ready to talk. And through that, he started communication. And next day when he was coming, he got a lot of gifts from the father. Understanding all the genius people in the world, they were quite concerned about the consumerization. They never exemplified this kind of a bogus life. They were down to earth. With that terms, whenever you come up to this utility value, you can talk with any person in the social status. And not only that, if you are doing it in a single or individual way, the present day you can understand the accumulation of wealth going to make so much of damage. 90% of the wealth of the America is used by 10% of wealthy people. And 90% of the American people depend on just meager 10% of the leftovers. Imagine the situation which compared with the West African countries. No. Still they can't stop it. No one can think about, because this luxurious usage and ultimately Lorentz curve went to the biggest wealth to the wealthy people, and the people are losing. The way the Buddha present, the how to be contented with whatever available, whatever coming along way. So therefore I am not always find fault with America. But I know Pollyanna is an American girl. I don't know whether you have read the novel Pollyanna. And he was a desperate young girl, born to a Catholic father. Mother died, already the father also died. And father teach the Pollyanna a game. The game is you must try to find a reason to be glad under any circumstances. You must try to find a reason to be glad under any circumstances. So whatever you have is enough for you to be glad. If you are not glad enough, then only you are desperately waiting a betterment. That is what is called the research. Any researcher is not happy here. He or she is searching something new in time to come, so therefore desperately chasing behind. They don't know they are losing the present moment. They don't know by doing research, they lose here now there. So therefore they start research with sick mind. Whatever they find is sickness. So if you know, here now I am is the beginning, from there only the spiritual journey started, so you have to be contented with what is available. And you must find a reasoning to be glad. And therefore, trying to find a reason to be glad is usually translated as Nissarana. If you are a person contented with what is available, that is the way you can develop loving kindness to yourself, compassionate to yourself, otherwise you are self-cursing. Throughout you are searching something. So much so, you are eccentric, you are not here and now. So therefore, it is not merely ethical, it is not merely external, it is not merely materialistic, but it is another shadow of the same mindfulness. When and where you try to mindful, you are ready to face with whatever arising under your very nose, choicelessly. If you have any kind of expectation in your meditation, that very expectation is distorted your mindfulness, even your definition of mindfulness. So therefore we have to understand, at the beginning when we get the definition of mindfulness, theoretically, we try to learn a new concept. But when you keep on practicing, whatever the meditative sittings you categorized as bad because of your expectation, then you interpret with that negative feeling, then you reject teachers, then you reject methods, then you reject meditation centers, then you reject your primary object, because it is not going to give your desirable end. So therefore, more and more you practice, you see, without this kind of attitude toward your basic needs or four requisites, you will ever find difficult to meet the two ends. You find not enough time, not enough space, not enough money, so much of pressure, so much of multitasking, and therefore you don't have enough opening or time for the meditation. And in the particular sutta, exactly the same content, in the Aryavansa Sutta, at the beginning the Buddha, one by one, he said, this must be your attitude to your clothing, this must be your attitude towards your food, this must be your attitude towards your dwelling and the medicine. If you know this art, to be frugal, to be economical, and to be utility, go by the utility value, you may find our mind otherwise never learn the term enough. So always searching, and therefore whatever you earn, never enough. So therefore you are just a person earning, never a contented user. Whatever you use, you think, no, there may be another better thing. So therefore, your thirst is there. So therefore, when and where you learn this art, even if you are living in the northern island, or southern tip of the world, or eastern corner of the world, or western corner of the world, the Buddha says, there's a one quality of the mind known as arati. Arati will never overcome you. Arati means you're always compromising to the inferior thing. Whenever you have an opportunity to develop skillfulness, you never go to the highest maximum possible. You always compromise to the second thing. Or in the simple English it says, when and where you taken up this spiritual journey, you are going to get 1001 better opportunities. But you never go to the better. You are very proud and back at your good. So therefore you are always backward. Spiritual people, from morning to evening, getting so much of opportunities for the betterment because they are usually good people. But they never go to the better. You find very comfortable with the better, good. So when and where you present the good and the better, automatically you go to the good, and each time you select the good, you consciously refuse better. And therefore you are in a rut. You are rotating in the same circle because the better option is ever presented but never accepted. You reject it. That quality, that mental factor is known as bhavana arati. Imagine that we are born to a family and we have a lot of dear and near ones, and we wish to ask them to come and meditate. What is the kind of explanation we are going to give? They have so much of responsibility, they have so much of work, they don't know all the kind of thing. They come out with 1001 explanation because they are very happy with good. And definitely they know meditation is better. Never. That quality we are born with. So Buddha says, whenever someone knows how to learn the utility value, how to find a reason to be glad under any circumstances, he will be more and more towards the better, going to get a lot of natural opportunities, and it appears like something new, but it is never new. Now only you know how to take the chance, how to take the opportunity to go from good to better. Always opportunities are there. So therefore, even if you are in the eastern corner or western corner or northern tip or southern tip, if you know the art of how to behave with the materiality in the world, for the utility value, you will never complain, I don't have enough time for meditation, I don't have enough knowledge for meditation, I don't have any colleagues for meditation, never. So more and more your relationship with the materiality is going to come up to the comfort zone. You find ever you will be going to get the bliss and frictional part as well as the comfort zone. And you can see these kind of people, those who are decided by utility value, never brag. They never advertise, they never ask you to come and join with them, but they keep it open, door open. Any person is advertising, any person is bragging, they have a kind of naughty agenda, bad agenda. So therefore this kind, the kings found, if all the subjects comes to know this, they have enough positive thinking. And as a Sri Lanka, as an example is concerned, when you go to the Swarnamali, when you go to the Abhegiri, you can see the equanimity, the big size of that Chaityas and Dagadas. And they never use slavery. They were using the volunteering of the volunteer skill. And being such a poor nation, how can they put up such a thing? Because they were very practical, they are very for the utility value, and the king also was promoting that. So therefore, whenever the collective effort is going to come, it can do marvelous. But when and where you are more towards the consumerization, you yourself become inferior, you are not contented with. So therefore you have no any compassion to think about others' suffering. You keep on accumulating, and it is ultimately burning yourself. So therefore this principle of how to find the happiness is very important. That indicates you must never go for self-mortification. Don't go reducing your the due meal. You must have enough meal per day and enough clothing to hide your shameful places, and you must have a moderate place to live and medicine. So therefore, never keep asking you to be deprived of the basic needs. And the Buddha, whenever you go to a high ordination, in the ordination hall itself, it gives 4 reminders. The Buddha gave to the freshly high ordained monk, I will promise you 4 things. As far as the food is concerned, as far as the clothes are concerned, I am promising you rag clothes. Wherever you go, if you find that thrown away pieces of clothes, that you may find it. You have the art of how to make a rope out of that rag ropes, and that is there. So therefore, that is assured. So never don't worry that I can't be a monk because I will be deprived of the rope. And then he said that rag rope is the highest, the best, most skillful thing. And I will promise you the food. Take your empty bowl, go to house, and they will give some pindapata. That's because that's the most meritorious thing to share with, and I will assure you. And as far as the dwelling is concerned, go under a tree, go to a cave, be in the forest. I am assured that I will assure you that must be your norm. As far as the medicine, you know what the Buddha recommended? Your own urine. He is answering all the questions in the medical science. But that has been completely cut off because it can't make money, no business. Putimuttu Besajjannisaya Papajja, you have your own urine, apply it, drink it, and it will give the whole answer. So when I was in the university in the second year, Dr. Vanaya, he was giving us a good science lesson. And when we were sitting in the class, he asked, do you usually read the newspapers? No, never. We have no chance because we are university students, we abide by the class for this thing. Did you read today's Daily Mirror paper? No. There was an article, no Coca-Cola but Moraji Cola. We don't know what he's talking about. He told the Moraji Desai that at that time the Prime Minister of India came to America as a royal guest. And when he goes to the White House, people came and over Coca-Cola, no. Fanta, no. This, no. That, no. So he refused everything. I mean, maybe people thought it is due to the security reasons and kind of thing. But even he gave an opening discussion for the media people. And one person went and asked, may I ask a private question? Yes. That whatever we American offered, you refused. Why? Is it due to health reason or security reason? No, he says, I have my own drink. Then again and again he was insisting. Then he told, I never throw away even a drop of my urine. Morning to evening, I use it, you see. That is why I am healthy. So article came under the topic, no Coca-Cola but Moraji Cola. And then he gave a lecture for 30 minutes. The kidney is the highest biological laboratory in the world. Whatever filtered through the kidney is meant for you. Is coming through your recipe, and if you are going to drink it, that is going to be the answer. But at the end of this thing, there was a couple in the hall. He told, asking that girl, don't drink the boyfriend's urine. So then all it was clicking in my mind. So after high ordination, when I am reading, I see the Buddha mentioned a person come with the total sickness in Dhammajiva Sutta, And the wise person says, color is no good, taste is no good, smell is no good, but if you drink, you will be cured. So therefore the Buddha says some people due to the color, taste and the smell, they refuse it. But if you are wise enough to get the advice of the wise person, if you drink, you will be cured. So therefore it's a very close circle. As far as the food is concerned, clothing is concerned, dwelling is concerned, but we have completely forgotten the original place. We have taken a very long circuit outwardly. It is not due to our naughtiness, it is of the conditioning. We are now civilized people, but we came from the forest. And if I ask you to go to the forest, it's a big business now. You have forgotten we are forest dwellers. We came out of the forest and then only the villages and the towns came into being. So we have lost the journey. And the food, lodgings, everything with utility value now it's a big business. And due to your lack of understanding, it is not just go in vain. There are some people taxing. They will not be ever happy you learn this kind of a short circuits. But when you become a monk, when you become a meditator, when you keep on associating, these closed circuits ultimately going to give no much of repercussion. No one can earn money out of you, and you know how to come home or be natural, and then only then you have enough time for meditation. You have enough mindset for meditation. As far as you have become a subject of this multinational, international company, you will be ever living in a dream world. It is not a must. It is because of the conditioning. So deconditioning, not impossible, but it is not very popular. So therefore the Buddha says that when you go for mindfulness, it is also not to go for the higher outward circuits, but to come and go back to the inward circuit. So it is not the mental preparation with the object of meditation enough, but your relationship with the materiality also must be. But be very patient, very pragmatic. Don't do these things overnight. Do slowly, little by little. Whenever you are going to wear, see the utility value. Whenever you are going to eat, when you get the meal, see the utility value. Whenever you are going to put up your dwellings, see the utility value. Whenever you are using medicines, let the disease come first. Nowadays, before the disease comes, people go medicine, and ultimately you will be sick with iatrogenic effect, not with the germs. Iatrogenic means the side effects of the medicine, the artifacts of the medicine. Even doctors can't cure it. Presently, most of the diseases are iatrogenic. So if you are waiting the disease to happen, then you have to diagnose the root cause and you have to treat to the root cause, not to the symptoms. The present day meditation is treating only the symptoms. Don't worry about the root cause. Mindfulness itself is using as a medicine, as a healing, as a therapeutic. And you know verily prevention is better than cure. But anything you use for cure, healing, which is very easy, very dramatic, and people can make money. The joke is that even the mindfulness is being misused for cure, for healing. But the basic idea is, basic tenet of the mindfulness is to go for prevention, to understand the preventive action of the mindfulness never happens its own face value. You have to imbibe it, you have to indigest it. And once it is digested, you see, not only mindfulness going to prevent you from the symptoms, it is taking care about the root cause. For that, you must incorporate your day-to-day connection with the materiality, and that is what the message you people as householders bring back home. You can't complain telling that when you go home that you have a home like this or people like this. It is never happened. And they will say, all the mindfulness is that lost because I don't have air conditioned room here or group people and all the 8 preceptors and kind of thing. But your attention when and where you are eating, when and where you are putting up your clothes, and each time if you are going to use it, slowly you may understand how much extravagant, how much unwanted thing we are doing for the sake of doing. And ultimately our second generation, everyone just follow the suit. And they don't know why it is they are doing. But keep on happening due to these conditionings or deconditioning, not only by deconditioning to the materiality going to make any change. Not only by mindfulness going to do a big change, that has to be going hand in hand. And that is what we call the proper livelihood, the correct livelihood. And that is not a commandment. Therefore, don't use this in a political way to suppress someone. You have to tell, this is known facts, this is the understanding or knowledge we are endowed with. Only wise person can put into practice. Only wise person can see the rationale behind it. Otherwise, find it is not fit into the present day. But whoever may be misuse it, consequences are there. Whoever is going to use it in a small way, day by day, and now of course, for the last 30-40 years, the small is beautiful, appropriate technology, the utility value, and ego-loving attitudes are all teaching the same thing. But this is the crux of it. So only this kind of thing could be understood only through the mindfulness. If you are not using the mindfulness and going to apply these things, it is just a mere outwardly show off. But if you are using the mindfulness, slowly you will understand. You may find, you may learn the art of how to be glad under any circumstances. And then we will see we are born in the Buddhist dispensation. It is very rare thing. And we are human, it's a very rare thing. We have all the organs intact, it's a very rare thing. Go to hospital and see how much people are in it. And we have Dhamma, we have, if necessary, ordination, and we have the noble friends, and having everything, still we are deprived, we are worried, we are inferior, thinking I don't have this and I don't have that. Whatever you are searching, whatever you are crazy for is not essential thing, not very important thing, but it makes so much of fuss, so much of tension, and so much of talking. So that is what the Buddha says, you can't stop it overnight. Whenever you slowly put into practice, you may find that mindfulness and these kind of things go in hand. Ultimately that journey is definitely leading you to other people in the same understanding, other noble friends, other spiritual friends, other true people, and read the heroes, the biographies of the heroes in any nation. They have this kind of the basic characteristics. They have the natural selection. They know to be in the utility value rather than this bragging and bogus life. And ultimately they preserve their energies, their health, physical and mental, and no one can hinder their progress. So therefore, we have all the potential there, but putting them into proper order is very important. So Venerable Sariputta include this fact. We must get together and recite. That must be the crux of the teaching. And he mentioned twice in this particular sutta exactly the same thing. When and where we get together, don't go throw your parties, don't go think about these luxuries and kind of things. See how much we can put up with this, the economizing, nature loving, and less kind of thing, and that is leading to way of life or livelihood, and no one towards the end of the Buddha, he says, anyone going to take this kind of a life, knowingly, will never receive any blame from any person belongs to any religion. No one. And he says, he remembered this for the previous Buddhas, how it was in the previous Buddha dispensation, and commentarial exegetes, teachers say, he can remember 5,12,027 Buddhas previous. Each and every one prescribed the same. So therefore, this is the most ancient teaching, unchallenged, time-proven one. And more you go into that, you feel you are a normal, healthy, mental and physically healthy human being. You are not a puppets, dancing by the strand, pulling up of the strands by others. So if you wish to come back to your own normal life, simply you can say, learn the art of how to be glad under any circumstances. You must find a reason to be glad under any circumstances. Other thing, be mindful what we have got is more than enough. So therefore don't worry much about what we are not getting. That will come if it is due, and instead fulfill as much as possible in the mindfulness, and internal and external disconnection going hand in hand, and then you feel, you can see these are the only people going to live in this earth. Others are just dreaming. So therefore this Arya answer, anyone who take it up this challenge belongs to the nobles. Arya answer. So not by just mere developing vipassana jnana or jhana kind of thing. Of course, they are necessary from the internal psychological point of view, but your outlook to the materiality, to the society, to the nature also must go in hand, and that the Buddha find not possible to find that combination in all over the world. Only limited in some localities are conducive for this kind of thing. It's not everywhere you can practice. So therefore, there are some advantageous position or localities, but anyway, to start with, and when you keep on practicing, you will be naturally pulled into these conducive localities, conducive groups, and therefore each and every time when you are encountering with the materiality is a tag, is a reminder, is a threshold, is a gateway for you to be mindful, not only to be mindful of the breath, but the interaction you are going to have with your clothing and the foods and the dwelling and the medicine, and therefore these four requisites will be your teacher. If you misuse, it will be your killer. It will be killing the nature, it will be killing the atmosphere and killing the relationship with other people. When and where you put into the proper order, that will be your teacher. So therefore we are anyway consuming these kind of things. Each time when you are going to consume, it will be a teacher, and when and where you practice it, it is going to give a silencer. Anyone look at, they are not definitely mindful people or Buddhists, they get the silent message. Last time I was in the Emmaus Center, the girl working in the kitchen, and she was, I think, Hungarian, and she wanted to meet me. She told her, Ivanti came 3 times here. Each time he come, I wanted to talk, but I had no chance. I think he was someone gave, and he came to me. Of course, he don't know how to respect Bhakti or nothing. He was taking this thing, then he was asking number of questions. And he had studied a little bit of Buddhism, and I answered as much as possible. Then I asked, what made you to have an appointment with me? No, you are walking without shoes. And no, you only eat with this bowl. And you are the same person I see. No fashion. So, if you need a girlfriend, forget about this whole nonsense. Attraction is not in the fashion. Just be yourself. So she, one by one point she told, these are the things attracted, but I had a very big distance with you to talk to you. But I wanted to talk to you, person like you, because it is some kind of a role model. Then I told, I am very happy whether you like it or not, this is the only thing I know. I do this, and if you are attracted, we are in the same boat. If you are not attracted, I have no any complaint. I mean, that is their wish. And that is when and there you come to the down-to-earth kind of a life, it's a silencer. More than you are going to do oratory talks and this and that, this is silencer. So therefore, when you go home, if you wish to know the least fictional part, to communicate with others, it's not by commanding, not by reprimanding, not by demanding, just by adopting into the present setup. Learn the art of how to find a reason to be glad under any circumstances, definitely you will be a Pollyanna. The Pollyanna I recognize as the shock absorber. Absorb all the shocks, never give it to someone. So wishing you also, everyone to be a shock absorber, I am going to sum up the today's talk. Thank you very much for listening. And if you wish to know Pollyanna films, at least I am a copy. So we are going to take a few minutes, sharing minutes with all the seen and unseen beings and the people help organize the retreat, knowingly or unknowingly, seen and unseen, sharing minutes with all the relatives and reminding our objectives. We are going to recite the traditional stanza. Those who wish, those who know may follow, others may listen attentively. Ittavata charammehi samdatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata charammehi samdatam punya sampadam sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavata charammehi samdatam punya sampadam sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Akasatta chagummattha devana mahiddhika punyam anumoditva chiram rakkantu sasanam. Akasatta chagummattha devana mahiddhika punyam anumoditva chiram rakkantu desanam. Sattha chagummattha devana mahiddhika punyam anumoditva chiram rakkantu mamparam. Idam go jnatinam hotu sukhita hotu jnatayo. Idam go jnatinam hotu sukhita hotu jnatayo. Idam go jnatinam hotu sukhita hotu jnatayo. Imina punya rammena mame bala samagamo satam samagamo hotu nibbana. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satam samagamo hotu nibbana. Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo satam samagamo hotu nibbana.